Regardless of where you may fall on the political spectrum, there is one thing every American seems to agree on today. Our political process is badly broken. Gaylord Swim described the political failings of our day, saying, "This political process requires strong advocates, certainly, but it also requires a counterbalancing sense of humility, civility, and dialogue. Because the political course often leads to power struggles, pride, vanity, and egocentric ambition ending in acrimony. It all too often manifests itself in strident voices, character assassinations, protest demonstrations, cloakroom deals, and corruption." So while our political system is deeply damaged and in disarray, I'm actually more bullish and optimistic about America's future than ever before. My reason for hope has nothing to do with which political party controls the House or the Senate, who's sitting on the Supreme Court, or who is occupying the Oval Office. It has everything to do with who's sitting in the living rooms, classrooms, waiting rooms, and community meeting rooms of our country. You see, the magic of America is not housed in the halls of Congress, memorialized in a majestic monument, or stored in a secure vault somewhere. The magic of America is found within ordinary people who do extraordinary things every day. The neighbor helping a neighbor in need, the teacher staying late to help a struggling student, the friend intently listening to a tale of heartbreak, the professional providing free service to solve a problem, and the child standing up to a bully for a classmate. These heroic citizens are the ties that bind strong neighborhoods and vibrant communities together, because it is the culture that leads, drives, and fortifies the nation. It's also vital for us to remember that our politicians rarely, if ever, lead. They follow. Even going back to our beginning as a nation, the culture and community have led and the politicians have then followed. We celebrate the Declaration of Independence as an extraordinary document, which it clearly was and is, yet it was a lagging document, not a leading document. Scott Rasmussen, in his book, "Politics Has Failed, America Will Not," writes, "The powerful principles and inspiring ideals penned in the Declaration of Independence were not even written until 15 months after the War of Independence began. The Declaration was certainly a great galvanizing document for the country, but it definitely was not a leading document. As John Adams put it, the radical change in the principles, opinions, sentiments, and affections of the American people, that was the real American Revolution. That radical change began ever so quietly, in homes, in schoolrooms, across the colonies." In an interview I conducted with historian David Barton, he asserted that the first four battles fought in the American Revolution, Lexington, Concord, the road to Boston, and Bunker Hill, were all carried out by local communities standing up and taking action. Early patriots recognized they were fighting for their local community, for their friends and their family. They were not going to sit around and wait for central planning to develop a strategy. Their willingness to act locally proved to be priceless in their collective pursuit of freedom for our nation. The Reverend Jonas Clark rallied 70 men out of his church to face 700 British soldiers in the Battle of Lexington. The Reverend William Emerson gathered 300 locals to fight in the Battle of Concord Bridge. And that model continued at Boston and Bunker Hill. Communities stood and fought and led, and freedom did not fall. Another example of culture and community leading, and politicians eventually following, is found in Jackie Robinson, who broke the color barrier in Major League Baseball. In an epic moment for the civil rights movement, Robinson stepped up to the plate in the spring of 1947. However, the political leaders in Congress lagged far behind. They didn't pass a major civil rights act until 1964, 17 years later. Rasmussen described another area of importance in American history, but its importance is not for the reason most political thinkers think. He wrote, "During the 1970s, political journalists covered everything from Watergate and Vietnam to stagflation and the energy crisis. Nobody paid any attention, however, when a guy named Bill Gates and a guy named Steve Jobs dropped out of college so they could launch their own companies, which turned out to be Microsoft and Apple. Looking back on it, just about everything that the politicians and the media talked about in the 1970s seems pretty irrelevant today. It was Jobs and Gates and the companies they created that actually changed the world. So my hope for America's future is grounded in the idea that when we look to people instead of politicians, to community instead of Congress, and to culture instead of government control, our future actually looks very, very bright. So while politics has failed, America will not. This is Boyd Matheson with Sutherland Institute. Thanks for engaging.